Insurance isn't one size fits all, and shopping for it shouldn't feel like squeezing into something that just doesn't fit. That's why drivers have enjoyed Progressive's Name Your Price tool for years. With the Name Your Price tool, you tell them what you want to pay, and they show you options that fit your budget. Enough hunting for discounts, trying to calculate rates, and tinkering with coverages. Maybe you're picking out your very first policy, or maybe you're just looking for something that works better for you and your family. Either way, they make it simple to see your options. No guesswork, no surprises. Ready to see how easy and fun shopping for car insurance can be? Visit Progressive.com and give the Name Your Price tool a try. Take the stress out of shopping and find coverage that fits your life, on your terms. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
Forever Dog.
When your first choice is a big old bus,
you turn around and boom, you end up with us. Sloppy seconds. Oh, diva. Our number is 213-536-9180. Our email is sloppysecondspod@gmail.com. And now on with the show. Hi, you slops, you fucking little stupid little bitches. You fucking bitches. I want you all fucking bitches. You just bunch of bitches. Are you ready for some Sloppy Seconds? Hi, I'm Meatball, and that's Big Dipper, and welcome back to Sloppy Seconds with Big Dipper and Meatball.
You're so hostile today.
I don't know what happened. I think because, just I'm having computer issues, and I feel like my internet is lagging. I just don't know what's going on with the world.
Is it possible that you've been stuck inside for a few months and there's no leadership during a global pandemic and it's just sort of stressing you out?
Listen, as we said before, and I was talking to Abora last night as I was at their house, this is just how it's going to be. There's no one telling us what to do or what the rules are, so let's just start living it up. Put your mask on and go live your goddamn life, I guess.
Be in control of our own health and safety.
We did make every single person in Abora's house get tested, and I had 2 rapid tests done before I was there.
Where'd you get a rapid test?
You don't need to know about my personal business.
Okay, she got money.
It was paid for by the other thing that I was working on.
Oh,
to make sure that everyone on set was fine.
Secret project.
Secret projects, baby. Ooh, baby.
Okay, so I was thinking about this, and I want to issue a challenge to you, and then we will get into our special guest interview. Mm-hmm. I would like to challenge one another to make something new in the kitchen that we haven't made before. I know you love to make a puttanesca, but I would like to, you can come up with something for me. I can come up with something for you. We have to make it from scratch in our homes.
Wait,
and then
why don't we just try to make the same thing? And we'll see, whose is better.
Oh, great. We'll do 2 rounds.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
Okay. I think I'm down to do this.
Do you have an idea?
What do you think that you can do better than me, bitch?
Most things.
T. I guess. Well, okay. What's something that I love?
I would
like you to make a. No, you go.
No, you go. You had an idea.
Well, because your idea is pasta, and I was thinking I would love to see you make a pasta carbonara with real pancetta and all the right ingredients.
Okay, and make the pasta.
No, you got to make a hollandaise sauce. Oh, and make the pasta, yeah, because I got a pasta maker.
You are all over the place. I don't have a pasta maker, so I can make pasta without that?
Yes. You need a wine bottle or a roller thing.
And then just thinly slice it with a knife?
Yeah.
Okay. So what are we doing? Carbonara?
Yeah, let's do carbonara.
Okay. Challenge accepted.
Good. You fat bitch.
All right, let's take a break. We'll be right back with our guest.
Bye.
Okay, something about me. I love shopping. If you love shopping too, you have to check out Rakuten.
And all you have to do is shop, 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 shop. And with Rakuten, you get cash back and rewards on almost everything you buy.
Exactly. Shop. Homeware, daily essentials, jeans. We're talking eBay, CVS, and even Levi's.
Ooh, so I can buy a vintage couch, tons of paper towels, and grab a new pair of jeans and still get cash back.
And that's not all. You can even stack those rewards on top of sales and coupons.
But Big Dipper, how does this magic work?
Well, I'll tell you. Rakuten is paid by partner stores to send them shoppers, and then Rakuten passes on some of that money to you, the member.
Rakuten is so real for that.
Plus, Rakuten has 17 million members who are already saving. Don't you want to become one of them?
Join for free at Rakuten.com or download the Rakuten app and start saving money now.
That's Rakuten.com or download the Rakuten app today. We all have days when we want to eat well, but just don't have the time or the energy to plan, shop, and cook.
That's exactly where Factor comes in. They deliver fully prepared meals designed by dietitians and crafted by chefs right to your door.
With Factor, you can stay on track with your nutrition goals, whether that's high protein, balanced meals, or overall wellness, without any extra effort.
The meals are fresh, never frozen, and ready in just 2 minutes, which makes it easy to fit into your routine.
You know, I love coming home after a long day and having a tasty and filling Factor meal. It's waiting for me, and I don't have to worry about shopping. It's quick and easy, and one less thing I need to think about when I get home.
You know, I'm feral for fish right now, and I always get my fix with Factor. I recently had their scampi-styled shrimp and salmon, and let me tell you, it did not disappoint.
So get Factor today and start enjoying delicious and nutritious meals.
Head to factormeals.com/sloppyseconds50off and use code sloppyseconds50off to get 50% off and free daily greens per box with new subscription only, while supplies last until September 27th, 26. See website for more details.
That's factormeals.com/sloppyseconds50, like the number, off. Sloppy Seconds 50 off. Do you want to improve your sleep? Well, listen up and get a Helix.
Whether you sleep on your side, your back, your stomach, Helix makes premium mattresses that are designed to fit your specific sleep style.
You know, now that it's spring, why not upgrade your sleep game and get a Helix mattress?
And you know what?
What?
I can guarantee you that they have a mattress for you with over 20 different styles and models for you to sleep on. I love sleep. I can't get enough of it.
And I love my Helix mattress. So ever since I got the big and tall, I know we go on and on about it, but it's a perfect fit for me. I haven't had a mattress before that I was able to select a model from, and I'm so happy I got to do that with Helix.
And I, too, have the big and tall model, and it's perfect for my big and tall body. I loved it so much, I got a second one from a guest room.
True.
Yes, baby. And the people are sleeping great in there when they eventually do sleep in there.
Best of all, Helix delivers right to your door with free shipping in the US, and you can get a 120-night sleep trial to make sure that it's right for you.
You also get peace of mind because Helix mattresses are backed by a limited lifetime warranty and have been recognized by experts at places like Forbes and Wired. And me. I am a sleep expert too.
Period. Go to helixsleep.com/sloppy to get up to 27% off site-wide during their Memorial Day sale.
That's helixsleep.com/sloppy and make sure you enter sloppy seconds after checkout so that they know that we sent you.
helixsleep.com/sloppy.
Get yourself a Helix.
Okay, we're back,
we're
and
back.
we are very excited to introduce our guest, an adult entertainer, porn star, and I can say star, the 2019 Gay VN winner for Best Supporting Actor in the film Slutty Professor, a lover of push-ups, pit bulls, and penises. It's Bruce Beckham!
Hey, you guys, it's so good to be here.
Thank you for joining us.
Right from the jump off, real quick, I was listening to last week's episode when you had Latrice on, and Meatball, you said that Shoshana Bean did the best Wicked, and you're 100% right. I've heard her. I saw her in it years ago.
Thank God.
So
wait, you saw her?
Confirmed. Yeah,
Wait.
I saw Shoshana Bean did Wicked just after Idina Menzel in New York, and I got tickets for, like, just after the initial hubbub had gone down. Shoshana Bean had gone in.
Hubbub.
Yeah, and
I think that's great. Now, I heard that
she was really good.
Poisoned
really
Idina Menzel to get the role.
Poison?
I'm just kidding. But apparently it was supposed to be Idina Menzel's like last night, and she was sick, so Shoshana went on. And then Shoshana filled the role for the rest of the time.
You know, Idina Menzel fell through a trap door during her
I heard that she fell through a trap door. A light fell on her head. She got like sandwiched in the lift.
Just toward the end, I'm pretty sure it goes like this. Just toward the end of her run, she fell through one of the trap doors, and so Shoshana had to start a little bit early. But this is just gossip and conjecture.
No one mourns the wicked.
Ooh.
Okay, so Bruce, yes. You did porn for a while, then you stopped, then you made a comeback. Don't call it a comeback. Why did you leave, and then why did you come back? For the intrigue? For the storyline?
Because I spent my entire adolescence planning a comeback and just setting it all up for this. No, I did porn initially as sort of a bucket list thing. I had some friends that did porn. I had a huge crush on a porn star at the time. And right around the time that I became single and I just moved to Los Angeles, I met a couple guys who were doing porn. And I thought, now's better than ever. So I did it sort of as a hobby. I was bartending at the Abbey at the time. And that was really, I was there for 5 years. That was my main gig, my main income. And so porn was something that I just did like every couple months. I would film something and then go back to my regular job. And I always sort of said I would do it until I stopped having fun. And then about a year into a contract with a certain director, it was no longer fun. So I said, you know what? I'm going to tap out. This is good. So then I went back into nightlife and continued working in that industry for a long time. I had a job in LA that I really liked, very lucrative. It was a Spanish food and wine bar in Melrose. And then the restaurant collapsed. The chef
Did y'all
left.
Do tapas?
Actually, specifically, yes, but not really. It was called compartir dining, which is technically more authentic in Valencia, Spain. So instead of little plates, which are tapas, it was communal dining for a table. So people just ordered a lot of food for everyone to share.
So really COVID safe.
Oh, yeah.
That's what it
basically,
is. Everyone
just
scoop their hands
Wait,
in.
was it also one of those restaurants where it had a communal table, like, and everyone was just at like a big picnic table sitting next to everybody?
They had one of those that we used for either big parties or when we just had to fit people in places. And that was the last place people wanted to sit because no one wants to eat dinner next to a total stranger, right? Yeah. So, it wasn't as desirable, but it was a really hard reservation to get. So ultimately, people would take any place that they could. So the restaurant failed, and I was looking for other work within that same industry.
Ain't that the shit? You're like, a hard reservation. Everybody wants to get in. A very lucrative job for you, and the restaurant still fails.
Yeah, well, what happened was the chef and the owner got into a war of egos. The owner assumed entire responsibility for the success, and it was only due to the chef's food. Wow. So the chef had it with the owner. He's like, "Oh, you think you can do this without me? Okay, I'm out. Good luck." He left. The place crashed. And no one. People were coming there for this guy's food. They didn't want to, deal with the other bullshit. So my income dropped like 75% in 3 months. I was looking for other jobs in the industry. And I thought basically, oh God, I really don't want to do this again. At the time, I had a friend who was currently working in porn, and I found out that an old childhood friend of mine was actually a huge porn star, Rocco Steele. And we had grown up together and been friends together. So I called him. I said, how's the industry now? I'm thinking about doing a little again, maybe just to tide me over for the summer. And then I thought, oh, wait, what if I build this as a comeback? People always like to see a then and now. So one company specifically, Titan, really got on board with that and really heavily promoted me. And I owe, a large portion of the success of the quote unquote comeback to how heavily they promoted me, were behind me, because I did a lot of great work for them and they were awesome to work for.
Rocco Steele is that porn star who his dick looks like a baseball bat. It's sort of the biggest thing ever. Yeah,
I mean, he's a friend of mine, and I actually, other than brief glances at promotional photos, I've never been up close and personal. But my understanding of his deal is that he has a huge dick and he has a really deep, sexy, gravelly voice. Right. And he's sort of, he's that archetype of like sexy hung daddy that people are into.
But I think when he first appeared on the scene, I was living in New York and he was doing like promo stuff, and I read something that like he was a lawyer and then decided to like transition into porn. I don't know if that's real or not, but I'm always fascinated by people who like are working some other career and then they go like, you know what? Maybe
porn.
I'll just full-time transition into a different job, and that job is porn.
You know, there's this shitty idea that people who are involved in adult film are doing it as like a default or a desperation career. And
right.
There's a lot of people who do porn who are either doing it to pay for school or who have had real world jobs with a lot of demands and stress. And then like, wait, so what you're saying is I can show people my cock and I can make the same amount of money. Right. You know, maybe I won't have health insurance, but pretty much my stress level. And there's a lot of opportunities. You know, I can only speak for myself. Comparing my work now, my career now, to when I was working in restaurants, I worked long, hard hours, 10, 12-hour days, 6 days a week, and I was still living paycheck to paycheck. And that's not the case right now. I work obviously we're in different circumstances with COVID, but prior to that, I was working when I wanted to with the companies that I wanted to, had the ability to travel, different opportunities had opened up to me. You know, no one's calling anyone to be on a podcast who's just a waiter at a restaurant on Melrose.
Wow.
So,
whoop. No, but I also find it. I also find it interesting that desperation angle, because I also think there are so many people who are in porn who love it, who enjoy being exhibitionists, who get off on it, which makes total sense. Like, yes, that's the perfect fit for that.
Absolutely, it's just another expression of a certain form of artistry.
Right.
Well, yeah, and now it's so much more easy and accessible with like things like OnlyFans and Just for Fans to start like selling it on your own. Have you found that doing that makes more money than working with a studio?
Well, depending on the level of subscribers you're at with OnlyFans, it 100% put income earning opportunities back into the hands of the performers. Right. Because with studio porn, you know, what you get is big promotion from them, glossy images, a slick product. Mm-hmm. But they pay you a flat rate. They cut you a check for the day, and then that's it. There's no such thing as residuals or kickbacks. So, you know,
you're not getting any residuals off of the the slutty professor.
One would think.
The Nutty Professor is already a nasty name.
That's the one.
Right. Actually,
you had said so many things that I wanted to make jokes on. You said slick product. Mm-hmm. That's funny to me. Your comeback, working long and hard hours. I mean,
listen, my brain is just programmed for sexual innuendo.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, you know, I mean, I know guys who worked in the porn industry who are getting paid $1,000 a scene or maybe $1,500, and you know they'd have to work, you know, a lot more to earn what they're earning through passive income on OnlyFans. I know guys that are making $15,000 a month on OnlyFans. I know a guy that's making $25,000 a month on OnlyFans. Now, he spends a portion of it on professional cameraman, editing, social media manager. So I would say a solid fifth of that is probably going to paying other people, but still $20K a month is not a bad gig.
Look, he's making his own microeconomy.
That's the minority. You know, I'll just speak honestly about what I'm making. I'm making just under $2,000 a month from OnlyFans, and I'm in the top 6% of the earners. So it's really not until you get to that, like everywhere else in life, that top 1% or less than 1% that you're really making anything that's like consistently good wealth money.
Right.
Well, also the thing is I don't know. Some people charge so much on OnlyFans and they don't put out anything.
Well, I was just having an online discussion with friends the other day. There are definitely fitness models who allude to the fact that they're going to show you something behind a paywall and never do, but they still get a shit ton of naive subscribers. There's also plenty of people that sign up knowing, hey, listen, I'm not going to see the dick, but I like the guy and I like the tease, or I'm invested in the lifestyle aspect of it. The same way that people are invested in the Kardashians, you know, with the exception of Kim's sex tape, we've never seen anything sexual from them, but people are still obsessed with them and that lifestyle and follow them around. There are people on OnlyFans who have capitalized on that same idea.
And I also think it's also about like marketing and intrigue, because there are also plenty of people, if you can do like a big sort of like marketing push and then snatch them, there's going to be a certain percentage of people who forget they signed up, who will passively give you $100 over whatever. And if your audience is big enough, that can actually be like a really like interesting money grab, and then you can sort of whatever. But like, you know, now OnlyFans is pushing, like Cardi B is on OnlyFans right now just doing content because, you know, she's in quarantine. She's not playing live shows. Shea Coulee just launched like an exclusive thing with OnlyFans. So
wait,
really
is OnlyFans
trying
to branch out and like become more of just like media?
But OnlyFans is basically willing to take anyone's money. What they do is, if you're a performer on OnlyFans, you have a subscription fee. They host your content. You get 80% of the subscription fee, and they take 20%.
Right.
So anyone
20%.
Anyone who wants to try to put something online and hope that people want to see it, they'll be happy to host it in exchange for 20%.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about your fitness journey, because you
I'm
sort of
at
look
that
like
body, honey.
You look like a bodybuilder version of Prince Eric.
I will take it. I will take it.
I mean, I feel like you have like the chiseled jaw sort of face structure of a Disney prince. And like, you know, there are people who are muscular and toned, but you're like, you've been doing it for many, many years, and your body is like carved.
I wish the audience could see you drooling right now, Dipper.
Me?
Yeah. Talk about that body.
I appreciate it. I like a little more cushion for my pushing.
Dipper and I have known each other forever. He's just making an honest assessment of a reality. So, I mean, listen, I have one of my good friends who refers to me. He has me as Disney Prince in his phone. So, I mean, there's a degree.
Yeah.
I looked out on some genetics when it comes to like facial structure and just like representing an archetype of what people like. That's just fucking dumb luck. I didn't do it.
Meatball lucked out on genetics when it comes to diabetes and heart disease.
Oh my God.
Yeah, you should see I'm about to lose a foot.
But on the other hand, you know, it's my job to work out. You know, what people are signing up for when they see me, what a large part of my work is dependent upon is looking a certain way and being in a certain shape. So, you know, I'm 48. I have been working out for the better part of 25 years. So, you know, every now and then I'll pass a kid on the street who's like, hey, yo, how do I get to be like you? And my answer is always, the best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago. The second best time to plant a tree is today. Right. So that's just to say, it's an accumulation of work over time, like anything else that's an asset, you know?
So how are you working out right now during quarantine? Is there like a gym, an outdoor gym that you're doing?
So I got to say, the first couple months of quarantine were rough. There were some YouTube, if I never have to do another YouTube living room workout in my life, it'll be too soon. Plus, I'm in a New York City apartment, so I have to consider the neighbors below me. I have a smaller space to do it in. I don't have a backyard that I can go kick it in.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it was March, so we were in cold weather. So what I did is I immediately signed up for City Bike, which is a biking kiosk service around the city.
I love City Bike.
Shout out to City Bike. And I rode around Central Park on the bike, even in the cold. You know, there I am in 40-degree weather, kicking it around. And then I did these living room YouTube workouts for the month of June, from Memorial Day until Gay Pride in New York. I went back to Ohio to visit my family who lived there. At the time, their COVID rate was very, very low. So it was a lot safer places, and their gyms had reopened. So I went to Ohio, stayed with my family, worked out at a gym there for 5 weeks. Their numbers started to rise, and I was starting to miss New York. So I came back just about 2 weeks before New York issued statements saying that if you were coming from Ohio, you'd have to quarantine. So I got back here. On my way back, I found some kid that had an old dumbbell set for sale on the other side of town. I picked up those dumbbells, brought them back to my apartment. You couldn't even buy dumbbells online all spring.
Everything was sold out.
Everything was sold out.
Yeah.
Or they were being price gouged. You could buy a set for like $700 on eBay. So I found a set of dumbbells, and then just, you know, you have to get creative like everything else. You can look at
you post videos of doing push-ups or pull-ups on scaffolding all over New York.
Listen, anywhere can be a gym, baby.
Yeah, it's just a matter of like, you wake up and decide, am I going to figure out a way to do this, or am I going to figure out an excuse why I'm not going to do it?
Right. And for me, I'm like, anywhere can be a couch, baby.
I can lay down on the street. I have a question. You said you were like riding the bike around. What? And people walk up and ask you about your body. How often do people recognize you, or do you get like a look from somebody where they're like, where you feel like it's?
Yeah, it's more a look because unlike another type of mildly recognizable figure, people recognize.
Why'd you look at me?
If people recognize you, it's because they've seen you at a show or da, da, da. If people recognize me, it's because they've masturbated to me. So they're a little shy about it. They might not want to admit, or they're with friends and they don't want to, people are still funny in 2020 about having shame about their sexual appetites.
That's so weird.
They're a little cautious. Or there's the opposite. Sometimes they were like, I was in Chicago for an event a couple of years ago, and I hear these guys like huffing and puffing and yelling behind me, and they're like furiously riding bikes to catch up to me. They're like, hey, Bruce, could we get a photo with you real quick? Doesn't happen very often, maybe once or twice a year. And mostly because I really think they're just sort of looking at me, acknowledging me, but they're sort of embarrassed at how to start that conversation.
Yeah, the shame of being like, I jerked off to you.
Yeah, but listen, that's my work. It's what it's there for. People will be like, will like mutter, oh, I've seen your work. Okay, cool, great. I love that you've seen my work. That's what it's there for.
Right. I want to talk about casting and like on-camera chemistry. Obviously for like OnlyFans content. I know for a while you were dating someone and you were like, I'm just going to do solo stuff on OnlyFans or something like that. But when you're either casting people for your own produced content, or for the studio, like, did they go like, hey, we want to work with these 3 performers, like which one of them are you interested in? Yeah. Or is it just sort of like you show up and you have to fuck whoever's there?
I've been lucky in that I would say 98% of the time the studios have presented me with, this person is available as a scene for you. Is this someone you want to work with? Yes or no? Wow. Or they've asked me, hey, which guys that we have that we filmed with do you like that you want us to put a scene together with? Because they know you're going to get the best chemistry out of a scene where the performers are actually attracted to each other. There's been a few surprises. I did a scene for Titan where I thought I'd met the guy the night before and he seemed really bitchy and really just gross. And it was only because he'd flown in and had a late flight and he was really tired and he was probably nervous. And the next day we filmed together and it turned out we had a lot in common and we got along really well. It was one of the easiest favorite scenes I've ever filmed. But mostly they do try to work with you because they know that something extra is going to be added to it if the people involved actually have chemistry. I've never been in a position where I had to work with someone I didn't want to. I have said no ahead of time and been like, no, I don't want to do a scene with that person. And then nothing's ever come of it. They've been like, okay, great, no problem. Once or twice, I've been surprised day of, because sometimes models can be notoriously flaky. So they won't show up or they won't show up on time, or once I heard from a studio, a model went to the airport and said he was on his way. It might have even taken that flight there and then just never shown up to the set.
I love a shady bitch.
It's morning of, and they're trying to figure out what do we do last minute. So there was like once or twice where I was supposed to film with person A, but person B's scene partner had never showed up. So they just shoved them into my scene. Or there was another
last them in.
It's a threesome now, baby.
A studio I work for films out of Vegas, and there's a lot of guys in the Vegas area that do porn. So performer A couldn't be there, so they're furiously calling around to find a replacement, and then they just find someone. And as a professional, you just go with it.
Is there a bar in Vegas called Fun Hog Ranch, or did I make that up in a fevered state?
I mean, the only bar in Vegas I know is Piranha, right? That's a bar there?
But I'm the worst person to Las Vegas.
I don't do that. Anyway, I have a question. How long are you were talking about being on porn sets. How long are you on a set all day with just like a hard on? And are there like fluffers? Have you ever used a fluffer?
So the bulk of studio porn is shot in a very specific order. You'll show up, they'll have you fill out paperwork, present your IDs because they get all the legalities out of the way. Mm-hmm. They'll do the glamour still photography ahead of time with you as an individual, and then you with the scene partner in various states of undress. And then and that takes us through about the first half of the day. And then the second half of the day will be the actual videography of the sex performance, during which sometimes they'll stop and start. to take high resolution promotional photos in the sex setup.
With the wet
wow,
dicks
with the-
and the dripping buttholes.
And now
Right.
who's
So-
wetting the dicks?
So the general time frame to shoot a scene for studio porn is anywhere between 6 to 8 hours. I've finished in as fast as 3 to 4,
Ooh.
and it's gone as long
Minutes?
as
No, I'm
as-
just kidding.
yeah, I wish. It's gone as long as 10 to 12 hours for a scene once. Yeah,
And
that
you're
sometimes
just-
depends on.
You're
If
just
it's
edging-
chafing your dick raw.
Well,
You're just
it's
edging
not,
all day?
It's not all active time. There's a lot of downtime. I've worked for studios where they've taken a break halfway through so the crew could eat, and obviously the performers can't eat because we still have to have dicks going in and out of us at some point. So we're just sort of standing around like, what the fuck? It's not the most efficient way, and we've actually said amongst performers, we wish there would be a union and a union rule that says over a certain amount of hours, we get paid more or differently, because that would light a fire under the asses of everyone in production. If they
Right.
know
Yeah.
after we hit hour 5, they get time and a half. So let's keep this shit moving.
I have
Alright,
a question
well,
about
let's-
production.
But really quickly, to be fair, there are sometimes physical stalls, like if a performer is having difficulty getting hard, or I've been on sets with a few bottoms who just wanted to go touch up and make sure they were cleaned out properly before we started filming anal. So that sort of stuff happens. It's to be expected.
Love it. Love an anal touch-up.
Yeah. I was like, I love that we call it a touch up. Throw a little powder on its hole.
What were you going to say about production, Meatball?
What's it like? What's it like fucking with like 5 or 6 people in the room?
So
And are they like all straight people?
there usually isn't that many people.
Oh.
The most I've ever, quite the bulk of the time, it's just been the performers and 2 cameramen.
Ooh.
Most studios now are using 2 camera people so they can get multiple angles at the same time. When you go to the 1 camera system, you have to stop and then redo what you just did with a camera from a different angle. So that takes more time. That's more tedious. But it's usually them, maybe 1 production assistant holding a light, or
There are more people hanging out with the drag queen on a Zoom call than there are
Yeah.
like in studio
Yeah,
porn.
and it's-
Yeah, they should
part
do
of
it like a sitcom, a 3-camera setup.
this,
Get
this,
y'all in there.
I
Laugh
think
track.
back when porn started in the 70s and the 80s, I think it was treated more like a film set.
Right.
And now it's like, well, the other reality is that the porn industry isn't making as much money as it used to be. So every extra person on set is another check to cut.
Right.
So I've been on sets where people were doing double duty.
Again,
That's the fun.
Double
You're welcome.
duty.
so many.
That one was
Okay.
free.
I want to ask some questions about dicks.
Mhm.
Is
I
there
know
a mold of
something
your
about those.
dick?
What's that, Meatball?
Is there a mold of your penis?
Oh, is there?
There's not a mold of my penis. I've never been approached by Flesh Jack to do that.
Well,
I
I'm
think-
approaching you now.
Part of the reason is because I've not been exclusive with a company in this most
Okay.
current comeback. I don't know for sure, but I think some of those people who have Flesh Jack models, it's because they've been exclusives for an associated studio at the time. I don't know. I would do it. I don't know how it pays. I don't know if they pay you a flat rate. I don't know if you get a percentage of the sales after that, but any contribution I can make to make people happy.
And okay, so we were talking about on set. People always talk about. Meatball asked, "Is there a fluffer?" People always talk about this. I remember going to the video store, and renting a film called Fluffer or The Fluffer. Do you know that movie?
I don't, but I'm sure it exists.
It's this weird like psychotic thriller about this guy moving to LA and getting a job in the porn industry, and it's like the late 90s, so it's like this like VHS
I've
DVD
seen
transition.
this.
And then he becomes obsessed with the porn star, and the porn star is a straight guy but chooses him to like fluff him on sets. And then
Yes.
they like have this like wild like thriller murderous sort of violent
Mhm.
it's a really like fucked up film. But anyways, I feel like everyone's fantasy
So-
is like, I'd work on a
Yeah.
porn set as the fluffer. I'll suck
Yeah,
everyone's dick.
I think that's an urban legend that benefits the fantasy of the fans. Every
Right.
set I've ever been on, the only people fluffing each other are the scene partner, and that's really
Right.
tough. If I have to
Oh.
go do some still photography and they need me to be hard, I'll go over to my scene partner and be like, "Hey, can I suck your dick for a minute? I have to be hard for the scene." And they're always like, "Sure, no problem. What do you need?"
That's friendship.
That's
just
co-workership.
cooperation.
That's
Yeah.
allyship.
That's
Yeah,
an ally.
exactly.
Employee of the month.
Oh, wait, have
And-
you ever worked with like straight people?
The very first porn I ever did was for Blue Blake, and my scene partner was a Czechoslovakian hockey star named Robert Van Dam, who was living in the U.S. And he identified as straight
Jean-Claude's nephew.
While we were filming. You can tell in the scene, his head's always at a 45-degree angle because there was a monitor off screen with straight porn on it that he was watching. However, I think anyone who's doing gay porn is on the spectrum of sexuality somewhere.
Yeah.
This guy when I worked at the Abbey, he would come in with a girl, drink at my bar, and try to get me to go home with them. And I never did. Why would I? I already did it and I got paid for it.
Yeah, right. Why do it for free?
And he was checked out while you were doing it.
Checked out.
Just watching that other porn. Okay, let's take a quick break, but we're going to keep the porno questions coming. We'll be right back.
And we're back. This is normally where I ask about Wicked, but you're a Wicked fan. So I'm going to ask you about escorting. What's it like to have really hot clients?
Wow. So I want to start this segment by saying, you know,
don't do it anymore.
Sex for money is technically illegal, but I'll be happy to tell tons of stories that I've heard from friends of mine who are in the industry that allegedly are doing that type of work. So
Yes,
I just happen to have
alleged.
some very intimate knowledge about some specific situations that were told to me by friends who may be doing it.
Yeah,
It's,
we wanted to bring you on to talk about just
And some of these
hearsay.
questions could just be hearsay and opinions. We'll say maybe, if this happened, what would you do?
With that disclaimer, have at it. Machine
What?
gun.
Okay.
What percentage of your clients are
like
hot and you like really want to be fucking?
3 to 5.
3 to 5%?
3 to 5% are hot. The reality is, if
that makes me feel horrible about when I buy sex.
If someone is paying for sex or companionship, they are generally lacking an asset in some area. And sometimes that is attractiveness, and sometimes that is personality. It's not always the case, but because, listen, I've had clients that are very busy, type A. Well, I've had clients, someone I know has had clients who are very busy, type A personalities, and they're just outsourcing sex like anything else. Listen, I don't know how to make Thai food, but every now and then I want Thai food. So I'm going to call the person who knows how to make Thai food and have them deliver it to my door. And it's sort of that kind of thing. You know, every now and then there are couples who maybe one is traveling for business and wants a little something extra while he's in a different town. You know, I've heard of couples who hire guys as a birthday present to the other. Like, you have seen this performer and I know you like him, so we're going to have a little special experience sometimes.
Have you ever been Pretty Womaned?
I wish. I send a meme to friends of mine every time they're asking about my work, and it's that scene where Richard Gere asks her what her name is, and her response is, whatever you want it to be.
Want it to be.
Yeah.
What's your dream?
I'm trying to think if I've ever heard a story of a gay escort who was Pretty Womaned. I know a guy in New York City who is set up with a comfortable life and a job working for the company of a wealthier man, but I actually think they have a real attraction to each other. I don't think it's just a purely business relationship.
Right.
Which is what that movie was. They had an attraction to each other. It wasn't just like, there's a difference between a relationship and a sugar daddy.
I mean, how could you not be attracted to Julia Roberts?
To either one of them, my God. I have had on occasion heard stories about a client that was really, really attractive where I thought, oh my God, I can't believe I'm getting paid for this. I would actually do this for free. But It's not often. Is
it often practice among people who date for money to send for the client to send a photo? Is that like a general thing, like under the guise of like safety?
No.
So you're showing up not knowing what they look like?
98% of the time. Yeah. Because these people.
Do you practice not cracking your face in the mirror?
You know what I do? Every time prior to knocking on a door, I take a deep breath. I say to myself, you've got this. Here we go. And then I open up to whatever the surprise of the evening is.
A whole new
And here's the thing. Because I bartended for so many years, bartending is a great lesson in how to communicate with everyone. Right. And you just learn to find the commonalities. Okay, there's something about this person that's attractive, so I just need to find it. Or it's also an acting gig. It's the idea of like, okay, let me try to assess and read what they're looking for, and then let me give them that. Honestly, one of the roughest types are the ones that have watched my studio work and think that that individual is the entirety of who I am. So they're expecting this big, larger than life cartoon archetype, really aggressive verbal vocal experience, and that's just not always what real life is. Porn is not what sex is like in real life. It just isn't, and unfortunately for their sake, I've crossed paths with people who, because they're closeted, they have no idea what gay sex is really like, or really, I don't know, maybe what relations between two people are like at all. So their only knowledge of how to behave in a sexual environment is by trying to replicate what they've seen in porn. And it's always obvious, and it's always a little sad, because you think, oh wow, you've never really done this before,
I think that happens a lot with young people too.
Yeah.
They're sort of like first experiences, like we've seen that in media all the time.
Yeah, it's like my first experience should be like a foot on my neck and spit in my mouth, and
right,
just like thrown down a flight of stairs, right?
It's like, at least talk about that first.
Yeah, it's funny. I talk about this with friends of mine every now and then, because of social media, because of how sexually open we are as a country for the most part, because we have things like Tumblr and Grindr and Pornhub that didn't exist when I was younger. When I was 20 or so, my idea of hooking up with someone was like maybe finding a hot guy and like sending the signals, and you'd go back to their place and you do something. Now you've got 19-year-olds DMing tons of people. Hey, daddy, want to destroy my hole? Like, I never spoke like that when I was 20.
How'd you get into Meatball's DM?
Yeah, stay out of my business.
And listen, there's nothing wrong with it. I think if that is where your mindset is and that is what you're looking for, that's great. I just think it's a lot of imitation. I think young kids think, oh, this is how I'm supposed to talk, and it might not be genuine to who they are. So, sometimes messaging a bunch of strangers, the door's unlocked, let yourself in, dump a load in me, that's super risky, Right. It's not
now, what part of that is risky?
Only if you've left your credit card on the night.
Well, I guess I'm curious, like, sort of what I'm sure people. I'm so fascinated by that experience. Like, you knock on the door.
You open it.
Your friend knocks on the door.
Your friend is, and there's like, they open it and it's like an episode of My 600-Pound Life.
I want to say something. You asked about if they ever sent pictures. Most of the time, if someone sends pictures, it's because they're thinking, I'll look at the picture and be like, oh, you're cute. Let's do it for free.
Right. Oh, interesting.
I was thinking, what about if a fatty is there and they're like, are you okay fucking my fat body?
Once or
fat,
twice.
Gelatinous, rotund body.
Once or twice I've had someone intimate, hey, listen, I'm a little bigger. Is that a problem? Or I'm plus size. Is that a problem? And my answer is always no. We're all God's children.
Yeah, you got enough. We're all God's children. As you pick them up and throw them across the room.
Did you hear the part in the Latrice episode where she talked about slick legging?
In the shower, right? When they're not getting it in, but they're just rubbing it between the thighs.
Right. They're like, just slick leg me.
I could have been doing that I could have saved my whole some trouble.
Listen, it's a real great trick if you have someone who wants to top you and you're not so into the idea of it. Right. They'll usually take that as an alternate solution.
Well, you got good.
Let me just lay on my belly and slam my thighs together.
But yeah, listen, I actually, some of the clients I've had that are not what people would consider traditionally attractive, they're often a lot easier because
they're happy to get it.
They're happy to get it, but also they're not used to being treated like a person. So when you just interact with them like a person and everything's cool, that they really appreciate that. It's like the woman at the grocery store that no one pays any attention to. If you just stop and be like, hey, how's your day going? They're so moved by that. So being nice to someone that maybe the world is a dick to constantly, that's very powerful for them.
Huh.
Yeah.
I've never thought about people that way.
Well,
Why
yeah,
would
I
you?
mean that's kind of what I was wanting to get to is like that the experience you're talking about, but sort of all of these experiences are really unique to the general public. You're not telling us about, yes, I work a retail job and then I, interact with my, like family or whatever. It's like these are unique experiences and a lot of which we all sort of fantasize. So it's really interesting to hear it talked about in such like a sort of normalized way. I'm curious, like, what those people ask you. Like, do you get a lot of the same questions? Do you get a lot of like sort of like usual responses?
Prior to meeting or when we're meeting? Do they
Either or both?
I mean, prior, people just try to generalize what it is they're looking for, or I'll ask them to explain. Quite often, people will say, "What are you into?" And
you're like, "My rent check? Why don't you?"
That's a weird thing because it's like, why would you pay me to come over and do what I'm into? It's
what I
you.
usually say is, "This experience is about you, so let's try to provide you with what you're looking for."
Right.
But they're asking that question because their ego wants them to not believe that they're paying for it. They need somehow to believe that I'm choosing to be there.
Yes.
I'm getting something that feels good for me too. So the money, that's just peripheral. That's just like a little thank you on your way out the door.
Right.
Have you ever like just pulled out and spit on someone's back because you couldn't come?
Spit on their back?
Yeah, like to pretend like you can.
I have never faked an experience with a client, but I will sometimes tell them this thing that you're asking for, I don't guarantee that. And some have said, oh, well, that's a deal breaker. And I say, okay, no problem. I'm not obligated. You're not obligated. Have a nice day.
Yeah.
There are unfortunately others who believe that dollar amount is in exchange for doing anything they'd like, and that's just not the case.
Well, what is the wildest, weirdest thing that you have agreed to do?
I'm pretty vanilla in real life and in those experiences because I try to I'm safe in terms of sexual responsibility. I also don't take clients who are on drugs. There's a lot of guys on meth who are hiring escorts because they want someone to co-sign that behavior and just party for hours and hours with them.
Right.
So I've avoided all those situations. So I tend to get some just sort of like odd but very safe fetishes. I had a guy that had an obsession with uvula, that thing that hangs in the back of your
throat. That little dangly thing that hangs in the back of your throat.
Yeah, the Cardi B reference. He was obsessed with those. And so he asked me to come to his hotel so he could stick a camera as far into my mouth as possible and take photos of it. And that's all he wanted.
Did he have like a medical
that was an
camera?
Outcall?
He had a traditional camera, but it had a specific lens on it that was longer and thinner so he could get back into the back of my throat. And my job was just to lean up against the hotel wall, open my mouth as wide as possible so he could fit the camera in my mouth and take photos.
I love that.
Yeah.
I don't even know.
Yeah.
I would have been like, well, while you're in there, can you check my sinuses?
And because it was so easy, I have a friend that does an escort, a friend of mine in Los Angeles that does an escort. But I told him, this isn't escorting. There's just a dude who wants to take pictures of you from a funny angle, and it pays this much money. You should do it too. So I told the client about my friend. He thought my friend was attractive too. My friend made an easy, quick, I think it was $500, like 20 minutes time.
Listen, I got a uvula and a big old mouth. Send it my way.
Right.
What about role play stuff?
So I primarily don't do any of that. I know a lot of guys who do, but I've always sort of branded myself, and it's a very authentic branding, as like the porn star you'd want to take home to meet your parents. I'm pretty vanilla. I'm very accessible and friendly. And so when people ask me to do really intense role play stuff, for the most part, I just decline. I say that's not really. But
what if someone came over and was like, I just want you to stick like 4 fingers in me, and then they make you fist them?
I've never fisted anyone
ever,
except no, except for a guy that I was on a date with. He was cute. We were fooling around. A finger or two. He's like guiding my hand toward his butthole. I stick a finger or two. I like fingering dudes. And then it was 3 fingers. Then it was 4. And then I caught on to what was happening. And I felt him grab my wrist and slowly ease my hand inside. And
he grabbed your wrist.
He grabbed it with his butthole.
No. He took his hand and put it around my wrist and sort of, nudged my hand a little further inside. And that's when I realized what was happening. But then I thought, okay, I have to go through with this just so that I can say that I've done it at one point. And it was not really any kind of a thing, except it just wasn't for me. And it was the movement of the bones that I could feel from inside that was like, yeah, I don't want to.
And that's Dipper's favorite part.
That's why I like feeling like a puppet master.
And listen, everything is for. There's a. People always ask me all the time, can I get into porn? What should I do if I want to get into porn? There is a medium of porn for everyone. All you have to do is find a studio who has models that look like you and send them an email. And there's a place for everyone. There's handicapped porn, overweight porn. It's unfortunate that, the mainstream market is still largely a very specific type and look of porn, but I think that unfortunately reflects like some of the sweeping problems with our country.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's unfortunate for the culture. It's fortunate for you.
Right. No, I have been a beneficiary of the fact that, real talk, I have had more opportunities and had more studios approach me to do stuff because I'm a Caucasian male with blue eyes. And that's just the reality. So I have
a big old hammer for a dick.
Now, like, the dick is a different thing, right? That's separate. But, so I have a responsibility now as a performer to say, like, to be more judicious on who I'm willing to film with. I kind of don't want to film any more porn with another Caucasian dude because we have enough of that. And there will always be someone filming that. And if the least that I can do is be like, okay, moving forward, I'm only going to film with models who aren't another Caucasian cookie cutter type guy who looks like me. That opens the door for someone else. Then it's just up to the studios to do that kind of casting.
Right. Well, speaking of your hammer of a dick, I'm really curious when you realized you had a big dick and a dick for porn. Like, were you 13 and oh shit, my dick is dropped?
Late, so much later than that. I didn't have a ton of sex. I was always a little bit more relationship oriented, and I love to suck dick. So mostly it was me blowing some other dude, and my dick wasn't out as much.
Right.
But I had a boyfriend at 29, and this is the first time I can remember somebody saying, "Wow, you have a big dick." And I said, "Oh, well, I guess I do." Okay. Up until then, God's honor, I never thought of marching around with some big dick. Now that I'm in porn and it's, so heavily featured, and it's one of those things, for years when I worked in food and beverage, no one really knew or cared that I had a big dick. So it's also something that's more prevalent because it's part of my work.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes that tracks.
Let's keep on going and let's move on to our next segment. It's time for Fuck Talk!
But we've been talking about fucking this whole time.
I know, but
I'm so disappointed there isn't actually a food break anymore.
That would be
lovely.
Well, I think we're going to bring it back, but in this new sort of food challenge that we talked about at the top of the show, because I want us to talk about food a little bit more, but we're not in person, so we can't sort of share the same snack anymore.
Basically, I was just trying to get some snacks.
Yeah,
we could have mailed them. They would have been late.
They would have been late.
You would have gotten them.
All right, let's do some fuck talk. I feel we haven't talked about sex that much in this.
No, not at all. Nothing. So why don't you go, Dip?
Well, I'm curious because you on Twitter obviously post a lot of teases of videos from your OnlyFans account. And I see you some gym videos on there.
Ooh,
is public sex a thing that you're into?
My biggest fetish is being at a urinal in the men's room or in the locker room or in a men's room and having someone give you that nod and that eye toward the stall where it's very impromptu. It's a total stranger. My heart is never beating faster than when that happens. It's totally my thing. If you're a hot guy and you see me in a restroom or a locker room and you want to get it on, literally all you have to do is give me that wink or flash me your dick and it's on. It's a done deal.
Can I just say,
sealed, delivered.
This literally happened to me yesterday, not at not at a stall, but in a parking lot.
What? Where? Where were you? What? What?
I was parked at the grocery store. I was in like the back part of the thing. I was waiting to
I was parked behind the grocery store in the known cruising spot. I don't know why that guy showed me his cock.
No, listen. I was gonna get on a phone call with my family, and I didn't. Listen, and I didn't have time to like get back to my apartment, and it was going to be a FaceTime thing or whatever. So I just pulled over my car and I was sitting there. And as I was waiting, this car sort of circled around slowly and then pulled in front of me. And then we started looking at each other through his rear view mirror. And I sort of like pulled my mask down underneath my chin, and he was looking at me and looking at that. And then he got out of his car and he undid his pants and he sort of like bounced his dick at me. Like it was still in his underwear, but he sort of bounced his dick at me like as if he was just adjusting his pants.
Did it feel like Christmas morning?
I was like, what do I do here? And I was
you get off that FaceTime with your mom and you go, suck a stranger's dick, baby. Cock, yuck, you know?
I just didn't. It wasn't, there's a pandemic.
I was in a restroom once, and I was actually on vacation with a friend of mine. I was in Paris, and I was at a restaurant in the middle of the afternoon, and I was at a urinal, and a guy next to me was sort of giving me the eye, and he showed me his dick, and then I was like instantly so into it because now I'm on vacation and I'm in a foreign country. So we sort of waited for the bathroom to thin out, and then he went into a stall. I followed him in. We did a few minutes of like making out and fondling each other's dicks. But then I started thinking, all right, I don't know what the rules are in this country. I don't know what the rules are in France about like public sex or exhibition. I'm not a citizen. I don't know if the laws are more, if they're less, what would happen to me. So I kind of shut it down. And I was like, okay, I have to go sit down. I can't do this. I went back to the table where my friend was waiting, and my hands were still shaking so hard because I was so excited by the idea of that. It's totally my thing. Almost nothing else gets me so excited than that.
Oh my God. One time in New York, there was a bartender on the same train as me that I used to always see at Boiler Room. And he was like grabbing his junk, and I think he kind of wanted to like go somewhere else on the train because it was like 4 a.m. But I was like, I don't know about any of this. I'm not about to suck a dick in between cars.
It's the impromptu thing for me.
In between train cars? That's insane.
Baby, that's why I heard they did it. I gotta ask Mother Teresa about it. She would know.
No, there's signs in New York that tell you how many people have died by being in between subway cars and falling or something. That's not a safe place to suck dick.
When? I used to go pee between train cars all the time.
Back in your youth when you had good balance.
Back when I was wild, yeah.
Pee onto that third rail and the electricity comes up.
It would get me, gal.
All right. Well, Bruce, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. It's a bucket list thing, so I can check that off now.
Oh, that's the other thing you said. When you said porn was something on your bucket list, I said, I'm sure your bucket was on someone's list.
Yeah, that bucket has been filled and filled.
Well, do you have anything to plug besides your home?
Yeah. Listen, well, that too, but also 100% my OnlyFans. I just started really. I was dating someone last year. Our agreement was solo content only. So now in 2020, as things become a little bit more safer to interact, I'm really going to start putting content back out there with guys.
Yeah, baby.
So I have a lot of stuff in the can that was in my can, and like there's just a broader variety. I shot some footage last week using a rimming chair that I've never done before, and just trying to give a variety of content out there. So
just so everyone knows, a rimming chair is a toilet seat on stilts.
That's right. I had a man bring one over to my apartment in like a canvas work briefcase and set it up for me to rim him.
We were like, "Is that a ring light?" No, it's a rimming chair. Yeah. No, so definitely my OnlyFans, which is onlyfans.com/Bruce Beckham XXX. If you want to follow me on Twitter, it's Bruce Beckham XXX. I'm also on Instagram. It's Brucelanious, like miscellaneous, but those cunts at Instagram have me shadow banned, so you have to type the whole thing in. But if you just go to my Twitter, Bruce Beckham XXX, all the links are there.
Amazing.
Awesome.
And also support Pitbull rescues because you're really into that as well.
Yeah, I had a pit bull for 9 years. It's the sweetest, kindest, most loyal. It changed my life. And one of my really good friends, Rebecca Corey, does a pit bull organization called Stand Up for Pits. She's a working stand-up comic and television actress. Prior to COVID, she did a national tour every year of stand-up comedy with nationally known comics, raising money that helped fund surgeries for pit bulls that have been rescued from dog fighting rings, because they always have atrocious injuries, or their ears have been cut off, or they've just been used and abused, burn marks, acid burns on the dogs to get them to be more aggressive. So she would fund all the surgeries and help for that. She also spays and neuters dogs for free so that they don't produce more puppies that would then need to have homes. So yeah, there's an organization called Stand Up for Pits that is one of my favorite charities. Always love them.
Awesome. Well, we'll
That's
put their
awesome.
link in the description of this episode as well.
Oh, yeah, and if
Good
you're
deal.
in LA and you want a little kitty, go to Luxe Paws. They're a
Oh.
rescue. That's where I got my little kitty, whose life is normal now, and she's not a little cunt.
It is her. How's the
Oh,
house
it only
smell?
took a week and a half.
It
That's not
did only
bad.
take a week and a half, but she's nice now.
Amazing.
Little Debbie.
All right. Well, thanks so much for listening to Sloppy Seconds. You can follow us on Instagram at SloppyPod. Make sure to send us an email at sloppysecondspod@gmail.com or call in with your fuck talk story to 213-536-9180.
Big Dipper is Big Dipper Jelly everywhere, and I'm Spiciest Meatball on Instagram and Fat Drag Meatball on Twitter. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't ever miss an episode, which now come out every Tuesday and Friday. Ooh, rough.
That one was okay, we did it. Thanks for listening, everyone.
All right,
bye.
bye. Doodle-doo-doo, forever dog.
Sloppy Seconds is produced by Forever Dog and Moguls of Media.
Mom, hosted by Big Dipper and Meatball, mixed and mastered by William Pitts.
Executive produced by Willem Belli, Alaska Thunderfuck, Brett Boehm, Joe Cilio, and Alex Ramsey.
Our artwork is drawn by Christian Cimarroni.
And our theme song was written by Mike Malarkey.